Our objective for today is I can solve word problems using model drawing. So we're going to continue working on what we were working on yesterday. We're just going to do even more practice. So we're going to use those same 8 steps to do our model drawing today. So remember, I like to use the saying, real wise workers do problems, quit complaining about it silly. And remember, I like to write all these letters going down my paper so that I can remember all the steps that I have to do. All right, let's get started on some more examples.
This first one, you can just watch me, and then on the next two, you're going to do them with me. So remember, we start by writing our steps down the side. Real wise workers do problems, quit complaining about it silly. So our first step is to read our problem. Amaya had 142 pieces of candy. She got another 126 pieces of candy. How many pieces of candy does she have now? All right, we have read our problem, so we can check mark that step. Now, our first W stands for who. So who do I have in this problem? I have Amaya. All right, check mark my who. My next W stands for what. So what does Amaya have? Amaya has candy. Check mark my what. All right, remember my D stands for draw. So I'm going to draw my unit bar. And I only have one person, so I only need to draw one unit bar. Now the P stands for plug in information. So let's read sentence by sentence and start adding in our information. So Amaya had 142 pieces of candy. Ooh, we can plug that in. 142. She got another 126 pieces of candy. Ooh, so we need to add on even more. So we're going to add on to her unit bar. And we're going to add another 126. All right, I've read my 2 sentences and I see this last one is my question mark. So I'm going to go ahead and check mark my plugging in information. And I'm going to go to my next step for my Q. How many pieces of candy does she have now? So again, I want to know the total. So I'm going to take my 142 and my 126. I'm going to combine them together and put my question mark down here. All right, so just like yesterday, check mark our Q. Let's draw our number bond that this would match. So I'm going to match it in the same direction it's going on here. So I have my 2 parts are connected up top. My whole, again, is going to be my question. I have 142 and 126. So, again, I'm missing my whole. If I'm missing my whole, I know I need to add my 2 parts together. So this is going to be an addition problem. I'm going to write it to solve it with algorithm. I'm going to write 142 plus 126. There's my computation. Now let's solve it to get my answer. I'm going to start in my ones place. I have 2 plus 6. 2 plus 6 is 8. Now let's go to my tens. I have 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. And then finally, let's go to my hundreds. I have 1 plus 1. That is 2. So my answer is 268. But now I'm not done yet because remember, I have this S for my sentence. So how many pieces of candy does she have now? I will say Amaya has 268 pieces of candy. And it is a sentence, so I have to start with my capital letter, end with my period, and I can check off my S. All right, you watched me do this first one. Are you ready to do the next two with me? Grab your paper, grab your pencil. Let's look at this next one. All right, let's write our steps down the side. Real, wise workers do problems, quit complaining about it silly. I'll read it to you so you can write it down in your paper. R, W, W, D, P, Q, C, A, S. All right, our R stands for read the problem. Let's read it together. Caden was working on a project. He worked on the project for 52 minutes on Monday. He worked on the project for another 106 minutes on Tuesday. How many total minutes did he spend working on the project? All right, we've done our first step, so we can check mark the R. We have read our problem. Right now we're on to the W. Do you remember what the first W stands for? It's who. So who do we have in our problem? We have Caden, so we're going to write Caden's name down. Make sure you're writing it with me. And we can check mark our first W. All right, our next W is what? So what did Caden have? Well, he had a project. He had Monday and Tuesday. Sometimes I like to look at the question to help me with what is the what. How many total minutes did he spend working on the project? So what is it asking about? It's asking about minutes. So that's what we're going to use for our what. We're going to say Caden's minutes. So write that down next to Caden's name. And because it's what he has, we put an apostrophe S there to show that he has it. And then we can check mark our second W. All right, now that you have Caden's minutes written down, let's move on to the D. And remember, the D stands for draw. So go ahead and draw your rectangle for your unit bar. And we could check mark that. And let's move on to the P. Remember, the P stands for plug in information. So let's read this first sentence. Caden was working on a project. Is that information we need to plug in? Nope, that's just telling us about the story. Let's move on. He worked on the project for 52 minutes on Monday. Ooh, that's important. I'm going to use that 52 because I know that's part of the minutes that he spent. So I'm going to put 52 on this unit bar. Let's keep reading. He worked on the project for another 106 minutes on Tuesday. Ooh, so I need to add even more to Caden's unit bar, don't I? So I'm going to add another big one. And this one is 106. So I'm going to put that in that unit bar. Oh, now I see I'm up to my sentence with the question mark. So that means we can check off our P. And now let's look to see where we're going to put our question mark. How many total minutes did he spend working on the project? So I want to know the total of Monday and Tuesday. So we are going to connect this all together, the 52 and the 106. So make sure when you draw your little arrow down here, go all the way from one side all the way to the other. And then you can add your question mark right underneath. All right, check mark your Q. And now we are to our computation. Remember, I like to draw the number bond because it helps me know if it's going to be addition or subtraction. And I just make it mirror whatever our unit bar looks like. So it looks very similar to the ones we've been doing. I'm going to have my whole at the bottom with my question mark. And then my parts are going to be 52 and 106. So I know I'm missing my whole. So go ahead and write what you think your computation would be. What would be your number sentence? All right, did you write your number sentence as 106 plus 52? Notice when I'm doing the algorithm, I have to make sure that my 5 is in the tens place right by this 0 so that I can keep it nice and lined up. So that way my hundreds are together, my tens are together, and my ones are together. All right, there's my computation. Let's solve for my answer. Start in the ones. 6 plus 2 is 8. 0 plus 5 is 5. 1 plus 0 is 1. So our answer is 158. We can go ahead and check mark that one. Now I'm to my last step, which is my sentence. How many total minutes did he spend working on the project? So I'm going to say Caden, and write this sentence with me. Don't forget this step. Caden spent 158 minutes working on his project. All right, don't forget your capital letter and your period. And you can check mark off the S for your sentence. Great job. Are you ready to do one more today? All right, find an open piece of paper. We're going to do one last one. So let's go ahead and write our steps down the side. Ready? I'll read them to you again. R, W, W, D, P, Q, C, A, S. So we remember that as real, wise, workers, do problems, quit complaining about it, silly. All right, our first step is to read the problem. Let's read it all together. Kerrigan has 206 pieces of candy corn. William has 170 pieces of candy corn. How many pieces of candy corn do they have all together? All right, we can check mark our R. We have read the problem. All right, now we're on the W. The W stands for who. So who do we have in this problem? Ooh, this time we have two people, don't we? We have Kerrigan and we also have William. So we need to write two names. So write them with me. The first one we'll write is Kerrigan. And then the second name we'll write is William. All right, we can check mark our who. And now we're to our next W, and our next W stands for what. So what do Kerrigan and William have? Well, they have candy corn, my favorite. So I'm going to put my apostrophe S, Kerrigan's candy corn. And William's candy corn. All right, so go ahead and write those right next to their names. And after you have it written down, check mark our second W because we have our what. Now we're to the D, and remember that stands for draw. And we have two people, so we have to draw a unit bar for both of them. And remember, we start by making them the same size. All right, after you have your unit bars drawn, check off the D. All right, are you ready to go to the next step, our P, which is plug in information? Let's read our first sentence. Kerrigan has 206 pieces of candy corn. Point to the information that we need out of that first sentence. What do we need out of that? Hopefully you're pointing to this 206. That's important, isn't it? So where are we going to put that 206? Are we going to put it in Kerrigan's candy corn or William's candy corn? Well, it says Kerrigan has it, so we're going to put it in Kerrigan's. So let's put 206. All right, let's read our next sentence. William has 107 pieces of candy corn. Ooh, point to our important information in that sentence. Are you pointing to the 170? All right, and that's going to go in William's, right? Because that's how much candy corn he has. Ooh, but if I look at my two unit bars, I see that 206 and 170 are the same size. Are those actually the same size? No, which one's bigger? Oh, well, 206 is bigger because it has a 2 in the hundreds compared to the 1 in the hundreds, right? So let's make William's unit bar a little bit smaller so that it fits a little bit better, so that 206 is actually bigger than 170. All right, so now I've plugged in my information. Let's read our question sentence. How many pieces of candy corn do they have all together? So I want to know the total between both of them. So I'm going to connect them together out to the side and put my question mark out there because I want to know both Kerrigan's and William's. So there's my question mark. All right, are you ready to draw the number bond with me? This time our number bond's on the side again, isn't it? Because here's my two parts coming off my hole. So go ahead and draw your number bond and see if you can plug in the parts that we have. Do we have our hole? We don't, so that's where our question mark is. But we do have our two parts. What did you put for your two parts? Did you put 206 and 170? All right, let's use this to make our computation. I'm missing a hole, so I know I'm going to add So let's set up our number sentence. It would be 206 plus 170. Notice how everything is nice and lined up. Hopefully yours is also. All right, solve this problem and then come back and see if you got the same answer. All right, did you get 376? Good job if you did. Oops, we forgot to check mark some, didn't we? We did our computation, and now we just did our answer, which means we are on our sentence. How many pieces of candy corn do they have altogether? We can say they have, don't forget to write this part, 376 pieces of candy corn all together. All right, go ahead and finish writing your sentence. You did an awesome job working through these together with me today. I know it's a lot of steps, but as we're doing it, it will become easier and easier. Good job.
Okay, now that you've had time to practice with me, it's your turn to do some on your own. So you are going to do this worksheet today, and you'll see that there's 2 different problems. And I do have all of your steps written down the side for you so that as you're going, you can check off each and every step. So these problems, I do want you to solve using model drawing. So not the number bond and not the picture today. I want you to practice using those steps. If you need to go back and watch the video as you're doing it to help, you can do that. But when you are finished, please make sure to upload this into Edgenuity for me and let me know if you have any questions. I know that this can be a little bit tricky, but I promise as we do it more, it does get easier and easier.